Hello and welcome to another Let's Interview. Today my guest is TakeShotAction.
How are you?
Alright, so here's something. You live in Australia, right?
Correct.
So, how do you deal with the mosquitoes?
Oh, when they bite you, you take back what's yours.
Oh,
That's the way to do
oh.
it.
Alright, on a second note, are you part frog?
Yes.
Okay, in all seriousness, you are one of the new up and coming ranters in the same vein as Repsion and the Amazing Atheists and many others. So what exactly was it that got you to want to become a ranter?
I actually didn't want to become a ranter. It kind of got thrusted upon me. So when I decided for the first time in my life, because I was subscribed to Onision for 2 years,
You poor, poor
and I
man.
lo I watched all his content. I know. Most people don't believe that when I tell them that after they see my videos, but I started watching him for about 7 months, the last 7 months, going, this guy has the most craziest life. I'm just going to see what comes out. And I stopped liking him for about 7 months. All
He
of a
was
sudden,
like
I saw
he
Mr.
was like a car
Repson's.
crash. You don't want to look, but you have to.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, I saw Mr. Repsion's video, Evidence versus Onision, and I thought, you know what? Everything this guy's saying is true, and everything Greg's saying is bullshit. Like it's blatantly obvious. So I decided, all right, I'm gonna leave my first ever video response that I've ever done to anyone, not just a submitted video response. The actual video will be a direct video response to that. Mr. Repsion sees it. All of a sudden, he puts it on his Facebook page. I went from like having only under 100 subscribers to having 200 and something. And I was
Even
like, oh my God,
yeah,
that was just like insane.
Dan's a great guy. I mean, I follow him, and he wants to make the community stronger by showing off good work. I respect him
Yeah.
like that. Onision, on the other hand, the only time he ever mentions other YouTubers is when he's shaming them.
Oh yeah. Well, he put my annotation at the end of the debate. I told him to do it and he did it.
Wow, he actually listened to someone who's smarter than him.
He told people in one of his social media websites, he went, take shot action. That guy's cool. Go and subscribe to him. I'm like, don't you do that shit to me,
Yeah,
Greg.
don't.
I was like, don't even.
He 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 might be the most insane yet most intelligent. If there is a God, God help us if him and Anita Sarkeesian work together. Oh my God. The world as we know it may end.
Anita Sarkeesian and Onision in a relationship. Oh.
That would be. Actually, that would make no sense.
But they're perfect for each other because he always goes on about how women are always better than men and how they're better than men in every single way. So
Uh, Bullshit. I'm willing to say that women could do whatever a man does, but upper body strength, yeah. Science already has
men are
proven.
naturally to, we naturally came out to have better
Yeah, the
upper
strongest
body
man will
strength.
always take out the strongest woman. However, there's obviously going to be women who could kick both our asses,
Oh
so.
yeah, there's gonna be a woman that could just go up and just cave my head into the ground. I know that.
Oh yeah, trust me. When I was younger, I was friends with this teenage girl. Note to self: never insult her looks because what happens next? I'm in a headlock, going uncle, uncle, uncle. It was just like a
I've seen a woman
flash.
bash a guy once, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like I couldn't even believe. I was just like, she was just destroying him. I was just
Yeah.
like,
So I know that you're inspired, obviously, by Repsion when it comes to when you make your videos. Is there anyone else that inspires you?
official GATG.
Really?
The thing like about him is he dresses, he like we're so similar, but at the same time our lives are so different. He's from America. We're such our lives are so different, but when I look at him, he wears a beanie, he wears a necklace, he wears fingerless gloves, he wears everything I wear. We do the same sorts of videos, and I'm like, holy shit, when I saw this guy, I was just like, this guy's awesome. Started talking to him, and now if I ever feel like I'm gonna make a video, I'll go, or he'll come up to me and say, I'm making a video on the same thing. So then I'll end up making him a thumbnail that's the same as mine to show them that people that we mean business on it.
Oh man, it's almost as if you're you're crossed. You're like separated brothers from so long ago.
Yeah,
It's
we're twins, but we don't know
it's
it.
always funny. There's always some people you're just like, damn, we just click so well. Why are we apart from each other? Isn't the
Yeah.
internet just great?
Uh,
Except for the whole, 4chan craziness, Onision craziness, Anis
See,
Garcesian bullshit, shit,
I never
the
understood the concept of Chan.
evangelical group, the idiots. The internet
Mm.
sucks.
It does, but it's the only way we can be truly unified,
Yeah, it's
being
like
at different
the internet is
places.
like the greatest thing in the world, yet the
But
shittiest thing in the world.
yeah, it is.
It's so much.
Yeah.
I had to install into my sonic screwdriver a way to eradicate the headaches, as well as
Oh,
get rid
that's
of the tumor
awesome,
that was
man.
growing after watching Aeneas Sarkeesian's videos.
Do you want to hear what my if I ever got to speak to the person who made Doctor Who, do you know what I'd tell them to do?
What?
The next time the Doctor has his like regeneration thing, or what's it called again? His
You got it. Regeneration.
yeah, he gets his regeneration done. I reckon like all of a sudden, just like when he, you know how like all the cells in his body change, including like the ones and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it changes his body and personality.
yeah, exactly. I thought that like, what's it? All of a sudden he can become like evil, and the person that plays him is Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones. And like, I
Hmm.
thought that would be sick, but then all of a sudden the doctors from the past create a personality inside of him that's full of good and
I
have a
got a
good
better
heart.
idea. Maybe it would just be better. Instead, we get a evil doctor. I've always had an idea that a lot of feminists are bitching that, oh no, the next doctor isn't a woman. Man, how sexist, despite the fact that River's Song is essentially a more competent female version of the doctor.
It wouldn't make any sense if he was a
Yeah,
woman.
my idea is that in a special episode, like maybe a 2 episode special, the doctor gets crossed into another timeline where he was born a woman. And this
Hmm.
doctor is a female, and she has done everything that the male doctor has. Only she's a woman. I could totally
Yeah.
see that. Have a big crossover, and maybe also have a nega doctor in another episode. Maybe he'd be the primary villain.
And she has a pink TARDIS. That would be awesome.
No, no, it has to be blue because it's based on the British. There's police boxes. And if it was
Yeah, but
pink,
still,
let's
that would be
face it, the
awesome.
feminists would get up in arms like, "Oh, pink! That's
Yeah.
sexist."
Girl, women like the color pink. There's nothing wrong with
It's
saying
true.
that. Women love the color pink.
Women do enjoy the color pink because it's a softer color. Where I
Exactly.
mean, yes, I admit it's sexist to always associate women in pink, but guys like violent stuff. Women prefer stuff that isn't as violent most of the time.
Exactly.
There are
And we could
exceptions.
say the same thing about associating men with the color blue. Like, we don't care. We just go, all right, that's all right, pink, blue, they're colors. Like, we can associate that with gender. Why is that sexist? It doesn't make any sense to
I
me
know,
how
right?
giving someone a specific color spectrum or well for their to define their gender make it easier even for my demographics on YouTube, it shows red as like or red sort of pinky color as women and the bluish color as male because that's how we sort of do it every now and then because a lot of men like the color blue, a lot of women like the color pink. It's
Well,
just
me, I like black and white.
black and white are good shades.
Yeah, mostly because of yin and yang. That's what it reminds me of. And okay, and I'm getting dizzy.
Sorry, do you have motion sickness?
Nah, I'm just being funny. Because I are crazy.
Can
Yeah. So,
you hear
where's...
that noise out here?
Nope, don't hear a thing.
Okay, good, just making sure.
Yeah. Moving on to the meeting to outside in Australia's beautiful countryside. I always wanted to visit Australia, but I don't want to see the koalas. I used to until a friend in Australia told me that those are mean little bastards that will just they'll wait for you to get under them and
um
then drop down and just claw your face off.
Depends on the mood they're in.
Of course, I always wanted to see a kangaroo. Those things are awesome.
Oh, kangaroos are cool. You can go up, you can pat them, you can hug them, you can feed them
Yeah,
food.
just
They're
don't mess with the
awesome.
Joey because Mama will not like anyone messing with their baby. And those
I've
guys,
seen
they will knock your
7 foot
block
red
off.
one,
I
seven
mean,
foot tall red one.
yeah, I mean, kangaroos
It's
have
terrifying.
historically been used in boxing matches. I mean, give them, they're natural boxers. I know it would be considered animal cruelty to do it nowadays, but they should try bringing that back. That would be an awesome spectacle sport.
I'll be up for that.
So, is there any YouTubers you enjoy watching nowadays? Like anyone who you think deserves
I like
more?
watching PewDiePie.
Really?
Uh, I know most people would just see me watching rant videos all day. I'm not like that. I watch gaming channels. I watch all sorts of channels. It doesn't really
Well,
matter to
then
me.
you're
I
going to
just do
enjoy
rant.
mine. I do plenty of games. I do rants. I do blind bags. I do opinions, commentaries,
How
and
good's your
now
PC for
interviews.
gaming? How good's your PC for gaming, man?
It's just a sick LG PC. The games I usually play are a lot of retro stuff. I got an emulator. I don't see a lot of Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color Let's Plays nowadays. It's
Uh,
always the latest game.
I tried getting my gaming channel to record Slender and Pixelmon,
The
the thing for
Minecraft one.
Minecraft. Yeah, the mod.
I think the mod's okay. Of course,
Yeah, but it just
I
lagged. It was like
cannot
three
mod for
frames a
the hell.
second.
I need a mod loader, and
Oh yeah, I need to get one of them too.
I use those
I have better sprint. That's all I need.
I use the pre-made mod packs. Usually the ones from Technic if I want fan-made ones, and the Feed the Beast if I want really good professionally made ones. That's not to say
I
Technic
got the
isn't.
Tekkit launcher.
What?
I got Tekkit launcher.
You might like Feed the Beast too. I mean, they got some good stuff.
Yeah,
Of
I've seen
course,
Minecraft Finest play that.
never put a texture pack on a Feed the Beast pack unless your PC can really handle it. It will. It will screw you up. What made you a gamer? It's obvious you're a gamer. So what got you that far?
I don't know. I always like games. I grew up with my PS1. Before then I had my Game Boy Color as well as that. Played Pokemon Red and all that.
Let me guess. The Pokemon games were your start.
Yeah, well, I remember the PS1 was more of my start because we had these demo discs and I loved it and my mom would buy games for it, Crash Bandicoot and all that,
Ooh,
Spyro.
that was a classic.
Just,
Why haven't they brought him back?
I don't know.
I mean, you see like Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony like trying to rehash their old franchises, especially Nintendo. I mean, don't get me wrong, Nintendo can do quality, but it does get rather monotonous. Bring back some of the more classics. Bring back Spyro. Bring back Crash.
Do you ever find that games are just getting like, remember when games were easy to beat? Now they're like really complicated and hard.
Actually, I think it's the other way around. I grew up when I grew up with an N64. Well, actually, I started off with an SNES, but I didn't really become a gamer until I got an N64. The SNES, when I was a little boy, was like I was like 5 years old. It was just another toy. I do remember
Hmm.
playing Duck Hunt. That was fun. I mean, maybe it
I
wasn't
like
NES.
Pokemon Stadium. That was a fun game on the Nintendo
But I
64.
hate that dog. It's like
I used
hee hee, just like
I used to pick I used to pick Jinx and use Lovely Kiss and like put people to sleep and they'd be like, why do you always pick Jinx? They pick like Articuno, Moltres, Mewtwo. I'd be like, Lovely Kiss and like put them to sleep and they'd be
hey,
like, no.
Jinx is a really good Pokemon. Hey, I will give it that. Of course, granted, because it fills two roles, Psychic and Ice.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when. I bet you did the same thing when you first got your Pokemon game. You focused on your main starter and a few exceptions, like a couple of the legendaries. Everybody else was like really low level, and you had
Yeah.
like one or two Pokemon that were like at level 80.
Until I decided to catch Missingo. But then everything turned to shit.
Oh boy, I remember that glitch.
I put it in my PC. I ran to my PC after I caught it. I used a Master Ball on it. I was like, screw using it on Mewtwo. I'm going to catch this. It was like level 200 and something. I'm like, and
And
then I realized, oh,
then the
yeah,
game
then the
went to
game just
hell.
messed up. I put it in my PC, stored it, saved the game. Every single time I loaded it up, it would freeze.
So
I
what
had to
kind of
start a new
games do
game.
you like to play? What's your style of gaming?
My favorite style of games is probably RPG.
You're talking to a RPG or two. Oh, I
Mm.
remember my first Game Boy Advance RPG, a Golden Sun. That was my first Game Boy Advance game, and I fucking loved it. My second
I
one was
thought one of
Tactics
the
Ogre, Knight of Lotus.
I thought one of the good ones for the Nintendo, which was on the DS, was Luna Genesis.
Luna Genesis. I have not heard of that one.
Basically, like it was just a really good game. Like, just was like a good game for the DS. And I just thought it was really well made. Like,
Hmm.
I liked Final Fantasy growing up. Was
Oh,
always into.
everybody. If you're an RPG fan and you don't like Final Fantasy, what the hell is wrong with you? At least the
I
classics. I
thought
understand the newer stuff. I mean, Final Fantasy 13, great presentation, but god awful gameplay.
I don't like the newer ones, man. I like Final Fantasy 8. That's my favorite.
Oh,
Followed
hey,
by
me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Suck on that, Spoonie. I'm not the only one who likes it.
Oh, Final Fantasy 8. I thought that was better than 7. Everyone talks about 7 a lot, and I think 7 was overhyped compared to 8 because I found 8 to be a lot more in-depth. The characters were just deeper, and
I don't know.
even though
The
Skull was a
characters on
whiny
both
bitch, like,
sides were kind of. The characters on both
yeah,
sides were kind of bland, but I think Final Fantasy VIII had a bit of a better battle system. I admit the junctioning system was kind of flawed and a bit
yeah,
tedious to draw out, but it was actually kind of unique. And not to
yeah.
mention, I do like Triple Triad. I love that
Oh,
game.
yeah.
That game is so popular. There's even a website where you can play the game online.
Really?
Yeah, nothing but Triple Triad. That's how popular it was. Also, I
It-
think Final Fantasy VII is a bit overrated, especially with Eris's death scene, or Aerith, however you want to pronounce her.
Yeah, I think
Especially,
the reason why it's so overrated is because a lot of people like that are our age and stuff like or like, in between like 18 to 35, they
well,
kind of grew up playing Final Fantasy VII when they were younger and it just meant a lot to them.
for me, you want a more, you want a better death scene, or at least something a little more dramatic. Try Final Fantasy III for Super Nintendo. The scene
Yeah.
where, what was the name of the female character who throws herself
I
off
never
a
played
cliff?
3.
Yeah,
I
there's a
never played
character who
3.
tries to commit suicide. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
a bit of a, and then Super Nintendo game no less. I mean, how did Nintendo of America miss that? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's
I
see.
found
Religious element?
10 to be
No.
great.
Alcohol? No. Trying to commit suicide? Okay.
Yeah, I reckon if anyone's going to start Final Fantasy, if they never played it, 10's the way to start it because
Although
I
play
reckon
it in
out of
Japanese. Don't listen to the English dubbing, cause that laughing scene. Ha
oh yeah,
ha
I
ha
look
ha
that
ha! Ha ha
that
ha ha ha! Oh my god.
and Waka's like, are you guys losing it? Like
Also, Waka's, as Spoonie said it, the best weapon in the game is Waka's volleyball.
yeah.
That's messed up.
I reckon Final Fantasy X, even though 8 was my favorite, I still reckon 10 was probably the best.
The
And I have
best
to
in
say
terms of
that.
mechanics. The story, this is the part when Final Fantasy story started to go down.
I reckon with 12, the gameplay, like the battling system, amazing,
Yeah,
amazing
I
battling
agree. I
system.
like Final Fantasy
But the
12.
the storyline was stupid. Like I didn't
Yeah, the
even
story was pretty stupid. But I
Vaughn wearing a vest and shit. I was just like, no,
also, bunny people! As the
I still
nostalgia critic
finished it
put it,
though.
bunny boobies.
Yeah. I remember
That,
how depressed I was at the end of Final Fantasy X.
yeah, it was actually a pretty decent ending.
It was a good ending.
Yeah, we still love the classics. Which, by the way, why haven't they did an HD re-release of Final Fantasy 9?
I don't know. They need to though. They need to redo all those old ones and just bring them out on the newer consoles. I reckon if they made 8 with like better graphics so that you can actually see Squall like instead of all pixely and stuff, it would have been
Exactly,
better.
especially that opening in Final Fantasy 8, beautiful, even by today's standards. And that was
They
on a
slice each other's
PS1.
heads open.
I know that was a. Oh yeah, and the operatic, singing and in the Latin and all that. I mean, that was my first Final Fantasy game. So
I
what do
remember
you
I had
think?
the demo first,
Yeah.
and then I told my mom to get the game. I got it in my room, the Final Fantasy. I had got all 4 discs for the PS1, but I remember like just me playing the demo, and then it would show like the first scene, and then you'd be on that island getting chased by the giant
Oh God,
crab
the
thing.
spider.
Yeah, the spider thingy. I don't know if it was a crab or a spider. It was a spider because it had more legs. But yeah, that thing. I remember running from it in the demo, going, "This game's just amazing!"
I
Like,
know. The cutscenes looked awesome. The rest of
mm,
the game, not so much, but they improved the graphics. Maybe give you like maybe even add a few more cards to Triple Triad. Maybe a bonus boss to take on, or maybe even a few more cutscenes and dialogue. Make the game even better. I mean, there's nothing
the
stopping it. Hell,
The problem
voice
with me with
acting.
Triple Triad was I would collect cards and then cash them in for the items with that weird junctioning thing.
Yeah.
And I know most people were into collecting it, but when I saw that I could get 100 heroes from cashing in a card, I was like, 100 heroes.
Yeah, the magic system wasn't that good though. I mean, though it was a nice risk versus reward. Like, do I use my superpowered spell to attack an enemy or use it to power myself up? There does a
Mm.
bit of strategy involved.
Yeah, and you got to
Although
use
something I
like
didn't really like is the fact that as I level up, the enemies also do. That was kind of annoying.
yeah, I found that it was annoying how Squall had to be in the party the entire time too.
That too. Still, the gunblade looked kind of awesome. It's the most
Oh, that was
stupid
sick.
weapon ever conceived. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, the handle. I mean, you don't get a good grip on it, and it's kind of hard. It'd
Yeah.
be kind of hard to fire and aim with it. But the concept alone is kind of badass. But
I
anyway, we're
actually
get.
thought it was the best weapon that's just my opinion though, because I just thought a gun like attached to a blade like that, I was just like,
There is something really badass about it. It's both the dumbest and most awesome weapon ever.
it looks cooler than it is, yeah, than it is effective.
Exactly. I mean, let's face it. I want a shotgun or I want a sword. If I combine the two, looks awesome, but would be it would just be so impractical. I would just
Yeah.
rather summon, I don't know, that giant lightning bird thing. And speaking of which, if I had the
Oh
ability
yeah,
to summon that, why couldn't I just
Quizzical.
fly around? Like maybe fly
Yeah.
away from the spider? I mean, think about it. I mean, I have the ability to summon beings. Why don't I just get on his back, fly me to the shore, I get out before the place blows up, and before the spider attacks me?
As well as that too, you remember that scene with Laguna and Wild where he chucks them off the cliff and they land in the water.
Oh
The
yeah,
tower they were on, they could have just run off and jumped into the water too.
that too. What you gonna do? It's a Final Fantasy game. Of course, there's gonna be plot holes the
Yeah,
size of an Albed airship.
yeah.
So, what
Uh,
about Dragon Quest? You ever play those?
yeah, I played the one. I only played one of them, and I played the one on the DS on an emulator briefly. That one that came out, and in the trailer they were changing the pants to red. You know that one?
Hmm.
Yeah, I played that one, but the one I played on the PlayStation, I think was Dragon Quest 8
I believe it
on
was
PS.
Dragon Quest 8 that was on the PS2. It was actually the first game to call itself Dragon Quest here in the States, as the original Dragon Quest had to be changed to Dragon Warrior due to a copyright issue. Just look up
Yeah,
16-bit gems on it, and by the way, great channel. I don't know if you love seeing like old school RPGs, especially Terranigma. You seriously got to get an emulator of that SNES game. It was
very
released
mild.
everywhere except the U.S.
Yeah,
Seriously, but mostly because it has a lot of religious iconography to the point where if they had to change everything, too much effort and it probably would have ruined the game.
I find that RPGs are just more fun for me to play than FPSs. I do enjoy some FPSs, but I suck at them for so long. It takes me a long time to get good at it because
Yeah,
there's too many out there. You got to learn different controls for sprinting and all
oh
that. And
yeah, especially. I mean, nowadays I prefer console shooters. I mean, it's so much easier because when you're playing on a console, the controls are usually about the same. On a
Mm.
PC, however, there's always just they always try to do something different. It's just yeah.
It's still you can always the good thing about PC is though you can always change your hotkeys and like all your keyboard settings as well as that too. I mean, even we got to admit like the PC is just the best gaming console in general
I
for the
was
pure
actually gonna
fact that
ask you, what
yeah,
is better, PC or console? And then when it comes to the console, who do you think's gonna survive? There's so many different opinions. Some people are saying the Wii U is probably gonna be the best because they have the best they're better with to their customers, and maybe a few more
they got to do
IPs.
something new.
Exactly. There's the downside. They don't have. They're just rehashing all sorts of old stuff rather than going new. Sony,
Nintendo's going down more with the gaming industry, like as far as consoles go, because everyone just wants their Xbox and PS4, and
honestly, the next generation is going to suck for console users.
yeah.
I mean, the Xbox One pretty much not only shot itself in the kneecaps, but sawed off their own legs at the start of the race. I mean, it's just.
And the thing is, the worst part about it is the one thing everyone can mutually agree that we're waiting for with consoles is the gloves, the helmet, the boots, the whole,
We want to be. It's
look,
we want Sword Art Online to be a real thing.
we want to run around in Skyrim and chop off people's heads without having to use a
We
controller to
want to
do it.
go into
That's basically.
Minecraft and face a creeper head on. Okay, maybe not a creeper, but
Imagine
maybe a.
Pokemon in that, man.
Oh,
You're walking around like, you grab a Pokeball from your belt, you chuck it, like, it would just be the
hell,
greatest thing ever.
hell to the yeah. I want to make the anime Sword Art reality a Sword Art Online a reality. Except with
Mm.
the whole being trapped in, and if I die in the game, I die in real life. Other than that. Although
You
on
know,
the
they
other
already have
hand,
the technology for it. They already have the technology for the gloves, the helmet, the suit. They even have things in the padding that puts pressure on you if you get shot in a game or something, so you actually feel it. Like, it's
I
just like,
know, but
oh,
making it just making it mainstream would be the hard part. I mean, especially
because it costs so much.
exactly, but it would be so awesome. Maybe in arcades at least. I could see.
People would save up $5,000 for that, easy. People would save their money for years just to get that.
I agree. The ability to go into your favorite games. I could totally see Minecraft or an Elder Scrolls game.
That would be sick.
I mean, but the problem, yeah, I would definitely say that when it comes to the next generation, it's gonna PC is definitely gonna dominate, especially when Steam has just announced the family share. You're now able to share friends and family your
Hmm.
games. Within limitations, like some games you're not gonna be able to share, like games that have their own personal key code, which is understandable, especially since
Hmm.
there's a lot of games that don't have the key code. And let's face it, when you got a big library of games, you don't have a lot you're going to be playing as often. You can basically say, "Hey, buddy, you don't have that many games. You want to try out some of mine? The ones I'm not playing. Here are the ones I don't play often, and yeah, go nuts."
Like I still reckon if the when PS5 and the next Xbox comes out, if they don't have those gloves and shit, I'm gonna be really disappointed because like we're kind of forced to keep moving with technology, but we want to move all the way up to that. Do we just want to get straight to it?
In my opinion, I think maybe just Microsoft, Xbox, and Nintendo should just work together on a big console. I mean, wouldn't it make sense? I mean, let's
Yeah.
just face it. If they could make a big console using Microsoft's, great. The connection between us is too good for it's too slow for good videos. Damn you!
That's all right. It'll fix it
Yeah.
probably.
So anyway, let's face it. We could take Microsoft's many IPs, Sony's technology, and the Wii and Nintendo's innovation, not to mention many other good IPs. If you combine them all together into a great console, the PC would be done.
And then they get 33.3% of the profit to split between each of their companies for one
Exactly.
mega
And
console.
companies don't have to worry about trying to make, different console versions, different console ports. They can just focus on one and pretty much that. Now we could just. Then the next problem we have to deal with is Australia's strict governor against video games. Ugh.
What would they call it? The X Play?
Um, I know that you guys didn't get Saints Row 4.
Oh yeah, we have this thing about the whole 18
I
R
know
thing, like
you guys get it up the ass when it comes to
with
this sort of stuff.
gaming.
I feel sorry for you because not only do you have to pay a lot of money to buy a game, but some of the good games are. Your governor is a bit of an idiot, isn't he?
Well, yeah, we just had a new person elected. The thing about Australia is we don't have many people living here, and like not many people can go to speak their minds, and action won't be taken to put new bills and laws through, and it's really slow over here, but we have it better than America. I'm not gonna lie. Like Australia has a way better quality of living than America. If we don't have money to pay medical bills, we fill out a form and then they go, "You're all right. You're all right. Just go home. We'll
Wow.
give you whatever medical
So
treatment you want." Like,
basically, as far barring a few problems, Australia is pretty good to live in. I mean, I could definitely see why. Let's see. If a nuclear war happens, you're probably going to be the last on the target.
no, we're gonna be first.
Why?
I'll explain it to you briefly. My theory has always been that if World War III was to happen, it would probably end up happening in Australia. My reasoning for that is when you look at a world map,
Hmm.
you'll notice that all of our alliances like Europe, America, Australia, like not so much Australia, but Europe and America, they're all sort of towards the left and middle side of the map. Whereas Australia, bottom right corner, in order to send enough troops over to protect Australia, it would take America 3 days. We have the third largest trillions and trillions of dollars of mining underground in Australia.
Oh.
What comes second to that is China, who's getting all their debt money from America, so they're going to have trillions of dollars. They have, what's it,
I
1.4 billion
see.
people. We have 20 million people. As well as that, they're suffering overpopulation, which means they need to send some of their people somewhere else to get more space to live on. So China could definitely invade Australia, and it would take America 3 days to send enough troops to stop them. We can't stop an army of 1.4 billion. Even if we exclude the men, the women, and the children, that's still 500 million or so people against, what's it? And we do the same thing to Australia, 7 million
That
Australians.
is
We won't
true.
last a chance. We could use guns. They can use their fists and baseball bats. We'd still lose.
It's true. There's,
And they have connections up to Russia, so they can get any weapons they want with the money they're getting
yeah.
from America's debt.
Spe- Since we're going into politics, the whole Syria thing, ugh. I just really hope we don't get too involved because I understand why Obama wants to go in and attack and take on Syria, the whole civil war, with chemical weapons. That's understandable, but here's the thing. I'm sure you're aware that America is stuck in two wars. We are being involved. We are investing a lot of money. Getting into a
You guys need the money for yourselves more than the military and the defense and
I
all that. Because
know.
you guys are way, how would you say it in gaming terms? You're OP, I guess.
I know. We pretty
Yeah,
much we invested all our money in offensive weapons and defense, but our mana pools are so low we couldn't even
yeah,
cast a basic healing spell.
exactly. That's it, man.
It's just
And
I envy the world. I especially envy Canada, except for the fact they have Justin Bieber and Aeneas Sarkeesian.
I love how like what's it? I saw this thing on Facebook. It said, "Oh, what's up with those people up north minding their own business, getting on with their day-to-day life? How about we just insult them every single day?" I was just like, "That's funny." That made me laugh.
Yes. Oh God. Let's just face it. We human, if there are aliens, they probably just looked at us and were like, "These guys are way too violent to go into our big space alliance."
Do you know what I think they would do? They'd come down and we'd be like, "Hey, how are you?" We'd give them flowers. They'd be like, "These people are great." Then they'd start reading into our history books and start looking at our news and media, and they go, "Let's get out of here, Jerry. Come
Yeah,
on,
that's
Jerry.
it. I'm
We're
out.
gonna have
That's
to
it.
send
We're
you."
out of here.
Yeah, we're gone. You guys do your own thing. Don't
Yeah,
worry if Earth just suddenly has an apocalypse.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, the aliens just. It's also here's something. If there is a God and God created everything, right? So does that mean aliens have their own version of the Bible and Jesus Christ? Is there like
See, I was reading about this recently, and I thought the same thing. And then what's it? Some Christian came on and said, no, there might be other life out there, but the fact of the matter is that even though God created that life, he still cares more about human life. The problem I have with that is the Bible also said, that there's only, life on earth and that he created the beasts of the land on earth, then the humans and all that. So it's like every now and then religion goes, okay, there's no witches, we can't burn them. There's none of this, but we'll move on with science. Soon as evolution happens, no. As soon as aliens come into the picture, no, but there might be. And like, religion's sort of like going, all right, science, you can be right about this, but we're right about that. The worst part about religion for a lot of religious people is that, they can't really win a debate with many atheists because the fact of the matter is that most of the reasoning for church and for religion was to keep control of people. And this was before a proper government could be established in a
exactly?
scientific and
And
industrial manner.
in the
So
Renaissance, it wasn't actually the kings and queens who were calling a lot of the shots. It was actually them being influenced by the church. You know,
yeah, and their government wasn't a proper government.
exactly. I mean, let's face it. Sit, the, there's a reason why we don't put church and government together because religion is based on archaic principles that don't hold up in today's market. I'm not saying being religious is a bad thing, as long
Yeah,
as be nice. I believe in God. I believe in Buddha. I believe in an alien.
yeah.
It's like, are you serious? I'm actually more inclined to believe in Christianity than Scientology. I mean, although if there was a
Oh,
religion based on
Scientology's
Doctor,
so dumb.
okay, if there was a religion based on Doctor Who, however, I'd be in. Think about it. The
Yeah.
Doctor is kind of like Jesus Christ. He's died and come back multiple times. He goes around helping people, and he has performed miracles in a way. I could see that.
Goku. Goku.
Uh, a religion based on Goku.
That would be the best religion.
It's a
We're like all putting our money into science to create energy balls and shit.
yeah. My Messiah could kick your Messiah's ass. And there's always like,
Goku's stronger than gods, though. The fact of the matter is that if God created humans and we have the ability to tap into genetic engineering to be able to alter people's genes so that we could create like a human that can make a fiber with their hand, why is it that we can create a being stronger than God if God created us and he wasn't as strong as stuff that we could create? Therefore, we must be the ultimate creators. Therefore, we created God with our heads. Same
people,
with
that is
Goku.
intelligence. Speaking of which, speaking of intelligence, have you heard about the Pope saying that even if you don't believe in God, if you're a good person, you get to go to heaven? That's what the Pope said. That is, and there are so many people that were on that news page saying this guy is a heretic and this guy's an idiot. Are you serious?
He, that's what I was telling you about with religion, man. They just jump from one thing to another. And the only reason, like, if you go back to 300 AD, there was like how many Christians in the world? Like less than 1% or something. And then Constantine had a vision of a cross in her dream. And then the church decided to cover up the shit that they did to make Christianity the main religion. So it's like Christianity wouldn't have even been popularized if some woman didn't just go and wake up going, I saw a cross in my dream. I woke up once and I saw a bright light and I saw a cross and I was just like, and there was like all this holy sound. I was like filled with joy and I like woke up and I went, I still don't believe, but that was creepy. Like it was just a really like, if out of any experience I've had with like a god or something or anything like that, that was a creepy thing. But I understand how sleep paralysis works. I understand how sleep works in general when you dream. I understand all that. So I can't really say, because if it can be refuted with logic and refuted with science, then I'm all for picking that side.
Yeah, if I'm gonna pick between religion and science, unless your Messiah can kick the asses of many demons with his bare hands, I'm gonna go with science.
Yeah.
Although, wouldn't that be awesome? Maybe they should rewrite the Bible, make Jesus like Hulk Hogan. Could you just imagine Hulk Hogan with the beard and the thorn crown on a cross? It's like, this is Jesus mania. I would so
Uh,
love to see Passion of the Christ starring Hulk Hogan.
I remember when I was in I remember when I was like 8 years old and I was in school and we had one of the really intelligent kids in the class and we were learning about religion and then he was just like, what? And he's just like, I don't understand this. And then the teacher was just like, oh, what don't you understand about it? Because I think the teacher was an atheist too. And like the teacher turns around and no, the kid turns around and he goes, what? So some guy with like long hair and a beard, which looks like this homeless guy my mum gave money to last week, goes around saying he's the son of God, and then people just believe him. And then the teacher just lost it, and we were all sitting there because we were too young to understand. He knew what he was talking about. We were all just sitting there like,
Oh my
you know,
God! I now cannot unsee Jesus as a homeless guy holding up spare change, just saying spare change. I cannot erase that from my mind now.
what do you think about the fact that nearly everything about Jesus happens to fall under the category of schizophrenia?
I never really saw it that way. Me, I usually just focus on the illogic, some of the more illogical aspects of the Bible. Like, let's see, Adam and Eve were the first humans, right? They had 3 sons. So how did they get more people? Did her sons?
No,
Yeah.
they had like 30 children, didn't they?
Yeah, but here's the problem. How did they get more kids? We're descendants of
Didn't they have
hillbillies.
daughters though?
We're descendants of hillbillies.
Yeah.
Yeah, suddenly
Uh,
I'm imagining Adam and Eve, a
The funny
shotgun.
thing was, the concept of Adam and Eve was, all right, we'll admit that it's pretty much wrong. But just, yeah, I mean, that's up to people to decide for themselves. But the concept of it was that life all originated from one place. And it was the same when you look at how life started through the process of evolution. You had cells multiplying and creating and reproducing, and that was basically the concept of life. We all came from one place. So to some degree, you see a fly going around, it's still a distant relative.
Yeah, we're all distantly related to each other. Hell, I'm distantly related to you. If we go way back, eventually we find something that ties us.
Less, we're more related than like a bird or something, obviously. But
Oh
yeah.
yeah. I always love creationist logic. Oh, especially how my favorite is after the flood, animals were sent to Australia by a volcano explosion eruption. This is real. Thunderfoot this was on Thunderfoot's channel, and I'm just like, are you kidding me?
I don't even know what to say.
I'm willing to give maybe the creationists that okay, God, Noah was the first Gallifreyan. He was the first Time Lord, so his ark had bigger on the inside technology. I'll give him that to fit everything in. So how did he how did he take everything out? That it's native only to South America to North America. How did he get the kangaroos to Australia? I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
if a
kangaroos can't
volcano
swim,
exploded,
at least
if
across
a
the ocean.
volcano exploded and sent all the animals to Australia and stuff, therefore there would be so many other breeds of animals. Probably like there would only be like 1 out of 10 of all the animals from that volcano explosion. 1 out of 10 of those animals would have been the only ones that survived from not getting splat enough and had enough energy to walk up and like fuck something with a broken rib or something, you know. And like, where are these fossils of these other animals that just splattered onto the ground?
I
Like, you
know,
know,
right? It's just, there are just so many stupid creationists. We're okay with people being Christian, but when you're being stupid like this, we're gonna notice. As you said in your latest video, you say one stupid thing, we're gonna pick up on it.
yeah. As well as that too, I don't have a problem with religious people, to be honest. I would rather, but the only thing I would say is if I'm talking to a religious person, I wouldn't mind talking about their religion. I wouldn't mind that. I'd be respectful of it. I'd be perfectly fine with it. If we had a religious person in this call right now, I wouldn't have said half the stuff about it not being true, like I said to you. But
Well, fair enough.
you know,
They're not.
Yeah, but as long as they don't force religion down my throat, I'm all good. And I'm more towards maybe talking about their religion rarely, like rarely. I'd more be interested to find out who the person is as a person
Oh, I
rather than
agree.
like what their God is, you
If
know?
there is a God, he would judge you based on who you are, not what you believe in. I mean, that's kind of why I stopped believing in Christianity, because the whole judgment system is flawed. I mean, after I learned about the Crusades, I'm just thinking, this doesn't make any sense. These people are supposed to be agents of God, yet they are blatantly flipping off the "Thou shalt not kill" rule by killing so many
Yeah.
Muslims.
I think religion is somewhat good to grow up with for a brief period. I have to say, both of my parents, I'm pretty sure they're I'm pretty sure they're agnostic. But when I was growing up and we would have like a relative die or a dog die or something, they would turn around and say they're in heaven. And then they'd talk to me about the concept of heaven, and then they'd say there was God. But it wasn't necessarily that we wouldn't go to church, we wouldn't do
It
anything
was
like that. Just if
it was
someone
just
died. It was just
comforting.
helping me cope with the fact that something's dead and that it might have gone to a better place. So I
Exactly.
mean, yeah,
It's okay when
it
you're a
wasn't
little
about being
kid
religious.
and it's not forced down you. I mean, if you just give the concept that they're in a better place and just say some of the good things, it's all right. Right.
Hmm.
But, it's like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. Some fantasies just have to end. Although, if there was Santa Christ, oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Do you know what I would be interested to see?
What?
Do you know what transhumanism is?
What?
It's basically upgrading the human brain with robotic parts or completely transferring your consciousness into a robotic, basically substance, you know. And people want to do this, like it's a huge thing. Let's say for instance, Albert Einstein was 3 times smarter than the average
And
human.
he puts his consciousness into in something that won't die.
Yeah, and basically, like if we put our brains into a robot, we can, you know how like we can't do brain surgery properly because it's just way too hard to do. But if we want to delete a file from our memory, we plug it into a computer, we can delete it. If we want to add in more gigabytes for storage or terabytes or whatever, if we want to upgrade mechanical bits, we're masters of the industrial era.
Well,
We
here's
know
my
how to do
question
that.
then. What is human then? Would we still be human if we did that?
I think it would depend whether your consciousness came from a human or not,
That
I
is
think.
actually sort of comes. That actually is a bit of a philosophical debate. I mean, take a look at the Cybermen. I mean, the Cybermen are originally human, but you wouldn't say
Yeah.
they were by the way they act. They are. I mean, just look at the Cybermen.
I think if you have I think if you have the consciousness, I think if you grew into like the age of 25, had your consciousness put into a machine, and that's what you were running off of, that makes you human. I think because, you grew up with a human mind, you are the definition of human, you're just put into a robotic body, that would make you human. What I would be interested to see is because when you upgrade the brain with like, mechanical substances, if let's say I'm 3 times smarter than a human, therefore I now have the intellect of Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein was instrumental in creating the atomic bomb. Now, he didn't create it himself, but because of what he did for mathematics and all
Yeah,
that,
he was
the,
the one
the
who helped.
atomic bomb could be made.
He helped
So,
make it and to basically help
yeah,
end World War II. But he still was upset that he had no. He pretty much had no choice in that. He knew that the Nazis were first. They were hoes, so he kind of had no choice. I can
yeah.
actually see
I
that as
mean,
a
like,
big moral choice. Do you
yeah.
create a weapon to kill many people to end a potentially devastating war? Or do you let your conscience not let you do that, but still face the consequences? I mean,
Well, that man
that's like the greatest
will
moral
define
choice
the
I
future.
could think of.
Yeah, he'll define that the future will be all determined by his calculations. I know that much, but like with that also said, let's say I was upgraded to be 5 times smarter than a human. I would probably have the capabilities to use some sort of chemicals to blow up the entire Earth.
Hmm.
Now, if I was 10 times smarter than a human, I could possibly blow up the entire solar system. Now, with that being said, this is why America takes chemicals so seriously because they know a chemical reaction can multiply in on itself. They've seen it observed in space. The government does not like chemicals. And, you know,
It's against
with
it.
all that said and out the way too, what would happen to a religious person if they were to have that upgrade put upon you? Would they
Pardon me.
stay
I'm sorry
religious
to
or would
interrupt,
they
but
turn
I need
into
to
an
pause for a
atheist?
moment. I'm being called. One moment.
Oh, good man.
Sorry about that, people. So you were saying?
Oh yeah, yeah. Would a religious person turn into an atheist straight away through that upgrade?
That is a good point because if they cannot die, then they cannot go to heaven.
As well as that too, there was a study done, and I don't know the actual full conditions of the study, but from what I could tell from the study, it basically said that people who are religious that didn't grow up with a religious family but found religion on their own had lower IQs than people who were atheists or agnostic.
I wouldn't
And that's
exactly.
interesting.
I wouldn't exactly use that as my basis of thinking any lower of any person, but I mean it is
No, 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 of
something.
course not. IQ doesn't define a person. How good their heart is and how good they are to people really does
Exactly. I
define
mean
them.
that was actually kind of my thoughts as to the judging. I mean, if someone's a Christian and they do horrible things to people, they still go to heaven. Whereas an atheist, if they give money to charity and do nice things and help people, they still go to hell. That
And the only word you can think of that after that is control and power.
Yeah, I like to think that God's kind of vain and kind of a douche. Maybe he's a teenager. Maybe that's it. Maybe God's
Do you
just
know how screwed we're going to be though if we die and we just all of a sudden start levitating up and we just see like this huge god there and we're just like, and he's like, you atheist. And it's just like, hey, 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 all
come
right,
on, come on.
I believe. Just let me in. Just like try to run in the gate, like trying to
Yeah,
open
then
the
it
door
like fries
slowly,
you
like,
comically, like like you're in a cartoon, like it's an electric gate. Maybe there's like
do you
some
know what I
angel
would do?
snipers. Like there's some angel snipers, just like waiting for some.
Yeah.
It's like,
Do you know
oh,
what
we
I
got
would
another
do
one.
though? If God was like the massive thing everyone says he was, he'd be taller than that gate to heaven. So, and you know how he wears that long cloak thing? I would just start climbing up
You
his
think anybody ever
thing.
tries to look up there and be like, oh, let me just come here. Oh man, he's bigger than me.
Yeah, I
Literally.
would like climb up his hair and then like stand on the top of his head and like jump over the gate to heaven and like land in all those clouds and be like, ah, an atheist got in, just like run for it.
Okay,
Only if he didn't let me in. I'd do my begging and all that
okay. Here's
first.
a question for you. Here's something. Can you prove to me that you're not just a brain in a jar and all this isn't just some virtual reality simulation?
Yes.
Actually, that's sort of a bit of a philosophical riddle. Can you prove you are not just a brain in a jar and that all this isn't real?
I when I
A bit tough, isn't
see,
it?
I think everything's too real for that. Hey,
Who knows? Maybe we're so far into the future, they pretty much decide to put us into a time where I don't know, it's a little better.
but the thing is, can you confirm to me 100% that you're conscious right now and you're seeing what you're seeing?
No one can. I can't.
No, no, no. But like, no, no, no. Like, you, from your perspective, what you're seeing now is you're looking at your screen and all that,
Nope.
and I'm here,
I
right?
cannot actually prove that I am not.
No, not prove it. Just tell me that that's what you see right
Well,
now.
I
Like,
see
you're
what I
looking at the
see, but
screen.
who says that
Yeah,
is what I see? The human
yeah,
mind can
but you,
easily be deceived. For all I know,
yeah. I know, but you're telling me that your mind is real and that you really feel like you exist and that we're talking right
I
now,
think,
correct?
therefore I am.
Yeah, okay, okay, that's all good. I'm gonna tell you right now, what I see now is my life. I've grown up from a fetus to like a person now. You know, I feel like I'm real. I can touch. I feel my life right now. Now, if we were brains in jars, we couldn't possibly be having this conversation unless one of us was fake.
Hmm.
And therefore, this might all be your perspective, but I'm going to promise you that it's not
Hmm.
because my perspective is real. I'm a real person. I can
Interesting. See, now
but
this.
but at the same time, I could be lying to you about that and saying that so that your brain finds a way inside the jar to feel more sane.
So, now this is what philosophical debates are made of.
Yeah.
it's nice to actually talk to someone who actually has a philosophical mind. I sometimes feel that philosophy is becoming a dying art, kind of like the sword and everything.
Do you know what it could be too? As well as that, your brain could be such a big brain in a jar, and this could all be your reality, so much so that I almost believe that I have my own segment and that I'm real.
Very
Because
interesting.
I could be telling you right now, I know I'm real, I can
Or
feel it,
hell,
but that could be your
or who
power
knows?
from someone else
Maybe
in
we're
their own brain.
already we already died and we're already in hell and we're just re-going through our lives. Then when we die, we go to super
Yeah.
hell.
Super
Yeah,
hell.
it has like the devil with the Superman logo on his head, and I'll be just like, you're gonna get sued, right? It's like,
Here's my problem with the idea of the fact that we go to heaven. Now, I'll admit that it's true that once we die, our energy goes somewhere, right? It escapes our body and goes out into space. Now,
that, or at least our body
yeah,
will decompose and become
yeah,
fertilizer for something. And I think that's a pretty good way to end it. I'm
yeah.
helping.
When I smoke my tobacco, right? Let's say, for instance, I'm not sure if this is true, but things as simple as tobacco or a fern can have more genes and chromosomes than we have.
Hmm.
Now, if there are more complicated species and, if there are more complicated species of plant, therefore they should be more likely to go to heaven as they have more genes and more complexity to
Ah.
them. Now, when I smoke them, where does that energy go? It burns and it scatters into the air. Now,
Hmm.
humans, we have this mentality that we must explore, we must go into space, and we must always find something new. We have this perception that we're so much better than every other creature because of our brain size. The only thing I could say is that when we die, our energy all just scatters. It's the same with the grass when we mow the lawn, or like, someone pisses on a lawn and the grass dies and the energy just dies out of it. But because we're human, we have this mentality that we're supposed to be something better. The only possible way that this could be plausible is that our brains are so big and our conscious is so nicely wired together that when the energy escapes from our bodies, our brain is so powerful after that energy escapes that it finds a way to cluster together before it exits into the solar system.
Hmm. An interesting thought. That's actually a very interesting thought. I'm impressed.
Mm.
You definitely should do more philosophical thoughts and debates on your channel.
Right.
I definitely think a lot of people could enjoy a some philosophical thoughts.
Mm.
Maybe actually ask some of your viewers to do a philosophical debate with you.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
I don't
hurt.
know. I'm not as smart as I appear to be. I just have lots of theories, I
Hey,
guess.
hey, my theory is that God started off as a baby. He created the dinosaurs. He's like, ooh, these are so much fun. Then he got older and he said, you know what? I'm gonna smash it like a sandcastle.
I like that.
Then
I
he
like
decided to do something a
that.
little more
That's so
complex,
cool.
like those little science kits. Okay, I got a man and a woman. Let's just go eat, 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 eat. And then he gets older. Now he's a teenager and he's fucking with us. He's causing
Yeah.
natural disasters, wars, and then he's like, yeah, yeah. Then when he's an adult, he's
That would
like,
be
I
great.
wasted my
I like
life.
that.
Then when he's an adult, he's just like,
That's an awesome way to look at it, I reckon.
you know, I'm pretty sure that if there was a god, he's face palming at us right now. He's just thinking, when I made you guys, I thought you would be better than this.
As well as that too, he could have been like, because he started off with it when he was like really like an actual baby. He probably made the dinosaurs when he was a toddler to get more creative. But when he was a baby, all he could make was circle shapes out of weird materials like the sun and go like, ooh, and then just like, run around and make these weird spheres.
Yeah,
And
that
then
makes
after
sense.
that, he got more detailed into the spheres.
Exactly. See, you could look at it that way, and plus, that would
Mm,
sort of help the creationists be like, okay, we'll admit there's a god, but God was the one who made the evolution, the dinosaurs, and evolution, and everything. See,
mm.
combine both of them. I mean, I don't see why they don't just go with that theory. It's the best of both worlds.
Because it does look like that would be the way to do it. Like, he just created like one big explosion at one point and then went like,
That
oh,
or Family
circles. It's
Guy's
like,
take on it, where him and his roommate Chuck were just playing around. He's like, God farts and lights it creates the Big Bang. I would that would be hilarious. Although here's a question. This is always something I love to ask Christians. Okay, okay, if everything has a creator, what created God?
Yeah.
See, there's that problem. Yeah, okay,
The Big Bang. But then what created the Big Bang?
there's
Exactly.
actually scientists are getting into the idea that maybe there was so much antimatter that it just pretty much compressed and then boom.
Yeah, but what created the
That
antimatter?
is
That's the
actually a big
thing.
question.
You got to chase the rabbit around with that.
Exactly. I mean, pretty much creationists and scientists we're both at a stalemate. I mean, just because we don't know what exactly caused the Big Bang doesn't mean it was just God.
It's not. It's something we can't even logically comprehend. How the first thing was ever created and all that because we're not programmed to understand that. Because I was thinking, and I was just like, as a human, you just can't comprehend that. We don't have the
Exactly.
ability to do that. Yeah.
Exactly. It's just
And I think the reasoning, another thing about that too is we don't remember ever not existing. We remember always being alive. We remember always being here. But that's the thing. We've never comprehended not existing. That's why I believe when we die, we don't see darkness. We don't see anything. We just cease to exist. And we cannot comprehend that. So we create things like God to try to comprehend things that
well,
don't
that's
make any
essentially what
sense to us.
religion is. It's to explain the unexplained. Like, what is that big glowing thing in the sky? That is our God. He gives us warmth and light.
Yeah.
Then we're like, okay, what is it now? It's just a ball of gases. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, that's because they're burning, constantly burning over and over again. It's just that. Religion is just basically the
Science has brought
first.
more into our homes than
I like
religion.
to think that religion's just the first step to science. Think about it. Religion does have a place, but it's the first step. You can't just stay back on it.
Mm.
Still, that's not to say.
Especially when we've just entered new eras. We went from the religious era to the industrial era to the scientific era, and we find that we have lights in our house. We have things like this that can be mass produced. We have, machines. We have televisions. We have laptops. We have the
In
internet.
fact, thanks to
If
computers, we pretty much went ahead hundreds of years thanks to the advent of computers.
and the fact that we got out of the religious era changed everything
It
for
was called
us.
the Dark Ages for a reason.
But at the same time, like all that shit we're putting into the air, I don't know how long our bodies are gonna be able to withstand all those gases and CO2
Personally, I think
levels.
that if worse push comes to shove, humans will adapt. I mean, that's how evolution
Yeah,
is. Changes to the environment will change our
how
bodies.
fast can we adapt? That's the thing.
Exactly. I mean, let's face
And
it.
our brain is a problem-solving tool.
And yet,
Well, I think we rely too much on our brains than the actual evolutionary process of having our bodies change, like how we wear clothes to assist in staying clean and everything and keeping ourselves extra warm. We no longer have fur. I think we rely too much on our
that's
brain as a problem-solving tool that we can't physically evolve as much as we used to.
that's the irony. I mean, according to religion, we were made to be better than the beasts, and yet the only thing we got that's going for us is our opposable thumbs, which monkeys do have, and our
Yeah.
gigantic brain. I mean, let's face it. Dogs and cats can smell and see better than and taste better than us. Dogs can actually taste water. They can tell the difference.
Yeah.
They got natural fur. They can usually tell when the weather's about to change just by instinct. We got animals that can fly unassisted. We got so much fish that can swim and breathe underwater. I mean, yeah,
I I find that when people say like, what gives humans the right to be the masters of Earth? The fact that we're way more intelligent than anything else on this planet, kind of,
that's the only reason why we survived is just because we were smart enough to figure out that, ooh, if I tie this pointy rock to a stick, I can kill things better. That's the
Yeah,
only thing that's going for us. We're smart enough to know how to dominate. But the moment, like,
yeah,
I don't know, like a giant ant army comes for us, we're fucked. They don't even have to be,
yeah.
like, the size of houses. They could just be the size of a terrier, and they're probably going to get us.
What's it? But the thing with humans is our strength is in our numbers. Like with our numbers, that's where our strength is, and that's why we reproduce so much. As well as that, there was an experiment done where there was 5,000 and something jelly beans in a jar. They got 1,000 people to guess how many jelly beans were in the jar. Everyone had very different answers. When they averaged it up, it was like it was so close to the exact number that it was only zero point 0.4 jelly beans off. So
Wow.
they said that our brains together, even just as a simple 1 second hypothesis, when everyone comes together as one, we are so accurate and we don't even understand how.
Yep. Maybe there's the reason why sometimes in the Bible it can hit things dead on occasionally. It's just
Mm,
the human subconscious figuring it out. I mean, hey, we're fair. We're willing to be fair to both sides, right? I think
yeah.
that's the mark of a good skeptic and atheist. Being able to see the problems on both sides. I mean, let's face it. If we're wrong, we're wrong. Who knows? For all we
We haven't
know,
been proven wrong about science yet, though. That's the
who
thing.
knows?
You can prove religion wrong all you want, but no one can seem to prove science wrong.
Well,
Unless,
it's the only
unless
thing that will
only science can prove science wrong. It's
exactly.
the only thing.
But here's the funny thing. What would happen if we die and the real religion is like some obscure tiki religion? Could you just imagine that?
Yeah, that's the thing about religion. There's just so many, all of them preaching that they're the right one and that they're not a religion and that they're all a reality. Doesn't make much
I know,
sense.
and here's something. If we were going to go by history, the first religion is the Mesopotamians. And what they believed in is that when you die, you just go into a dark cavern and you eat nothing but dust, no matter who you are and what you were in life. Good, evil, neutral, atheist, religious, you're fucked.
Is that for the rest of eternity? Just
For all
eating
of
dust and
eternity.
so it's an infinite cave.
Pretty much. Well, you're just in darkness.
Yeah, just eat dust.
Well, it's better than Indian food. Oh, I would give you a high five if I could.
uh,
I
I
could. I could not resist.
I still think that when we die, we just cease to exist, and our brains can't comprehend not existing because we can't comprehend not existing because we didn't exist forever, but we
Exactly.
have this mentality that we've always been here.
There is a thing. I mean, as far as your memories go, your memories is always you awake, always alive. I mean, the earliest memory I got is me 3 years old, Las Vegas,
Same
in a big
through
sand pit, digging up little dinosaur toys. That was in a
really.
Las Vegas like thing.
My first memory was walking down my kindergarten hallway, and this kid coming up to me, going up to me, and my dad going, "Is that your son?" And then my dad's like, "Yeah," and and then the kid goes, "I hate him," and just like walks off, and I was like, he was like my first enemy, but that was like my first memory.
Your first memory is your first enemy. My first memory,
Yeah, my dad was just
dinosaurs.
laughing. He's like, "Do you hate him? Do you?" Like, I was like,
Honestly,
uh,
uh, life. What are the answers? Who knows?
Do you know what I think? Life doesn't even have a meaning. Ever since we were down to our single cell organisms, when we were single cell organisms, all we would do is just reproduce. And that's just, it's not something that has any meaning. It's not something that has any valid points. It's just what we do because of chance and luck. Like, that's it. We just have to feel like we have meaning because of this pink
It
blob in
makes
our
sense. I
heads.
mean, in the grand scheme of things, if we, in the whole time of the universe, 100 years is just basically a second on the
Mm.
universe's clock. I mean, let's be honest. Life essentially has no meaning. But what's the point? Why not? Why not just enjoy it? I think that's basically the meaning of
Doesn't
life.
have to have a meaning. We can choose to make the meaning whatever we want
Yeah,
to make it
in my
because
opinion,
we were granted with the life to do it.
meaning of life, enjoy yourself. Play a good game, watch a good movie, hang out with friends, have good food. There's a good
I feel sorry for all the Christians or Catholics or religious people in general that have died and just ceased to exist and never knew that they even had a life, you know?
that
When we die,
or
we're even going to know that our life happened because we're just going to cease to
that
exist.
or they're up in heaven listening to us and they're just like laughing at us. Be like,
I
that's
listen
what
to
they
these
think.
too. I got like three of them standing over here.
I like to think that maybe that's what angels do in their spare time. Maybe they get like special invisibility cloaks or something and they just, are like behind us, maybe messing
Yeah.
with us. Maybe that's why some of our dogs will bark for no reason. They see angels.
Uh,
They're like,
I would love for them to just sit there and just call us idiots, just going like, "Oh yeah, remember when we were alive and we thought the same thing?" They're just like laughing.
yeah. Like, but here's something. If you went to heaven and your family member went to hell, would that still be heaven?
No, because heaven's supposed to be all good and nothing bad is possible.
So in that case,
Therefore,
you either don't go to heaven because it wouldn't be heavenly, or
it
you're
contradicts itself.
brainwashed, or they brainwash you, which is definitely not moral.
Technically, technically, if heaven's all good and there's nothing negative that can happen, it's an all holy place. The fact that one of your relatives are in hell, you'd either feel pain over them, which is impossible in heaven, or they would, yeah, take that memory out of your head, which is a negative event. Therefore, that coincides and contradicts heaven completely as it cannot exist.
Exactly. And that's definitely one of those moral things. It's definitely another one of
Yeah.
those moral problems. But hey, we don't we essentially can't 100% prove that heaven isn't real. We can prove
Yeah.
99.99999999999 repeating, of course, prove that it doesn't exist, but there's always that little
Slim
percentage that it
possibility.
is real.
See, the thing about me is, even though I'm an atheist, I will admit that being agnostic is the number one true way to view everything. Because agnostic just acknowledges everything as a possibility, whereas an atheist is dead set on one thing. But I will admit, as an atheist, that being agnostic is far more accurate than any atheist.
That is actually a good way of looking at the world.
I have to be an atheist though, because I'm one of those people that is very much I base all my thoughts nearly around logic. I'm just one of those people, and religion just goes against logic. Therefore, I need to be an
I can
atheist.
understand why. I'm not judging you. I don't think a lot of my viewers will judge you because you're not an atheist just to be one and be a dick to everyone. You actually think.
Last month, I was agnostic. I was agnostic for my whole life until a month ago, and then I went, no, I have to be an atheist. I can't keep being
Yeah,
agnostic.
I went
But
from
I could go back to agnostic like that. It wouldn't bother
yeah,
me,
I
to be
went
honest, because
let's see. I went from a
mm,
Christian, then I decided to become a Buddhist. Then I went into like Jediism at one point. Yes,
Jediism. Yeah, I've heard of
Jediism is an actual religion, which actually doesn't
That's
seem
so
like a
cool.
bad thing now that you think about it.
That's awesome.
No, it really does exist. It's an actual tax-free religion. Go figure.
That's so cool.
And then I went to agnostic. Now I'm an atheist. Not a bad
See,
road.
Buddhism is one of the religions I can respect the most, to be honest.
Hmm?
Even though Buddhism has lots of fucked up things in it, it's still one of the religions I can respect the most for what it is today, not from what it
Because
is in the past.
essentially Buddhism is about self-enlightenment. It's not the fact that
Being the best
you're
human you can be.
you're already sinned and you're already going to hell, so you have to give up your sin. It's a matter of it's not that you're sinned, it's just that trying to better oneself. Make it
I feel like it's almost like they embrace the fact that we are animals and that we have to be the best kind of human we can possibly be as a human.
That's exactly what it means. It means that
Mm.
it already knows. Hey, we make mistakes. We're warmongers. We love fighting and everything. It's a matter of becoming better.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that we had a nice discussion. So I think we'll call it quits here. So I'm
All
Bren
right.
Tenkage. That's
Catch you,
no,
man.
that's your cue to say I'm TakeShotAction.
I am take short action.
All right,
Yes.
I'm Bren Tenkage,
Take short action.
and we'll see you later. Bye.
Yeah.